Good afternoon. It's Thursday. It's 3:08, and it's time for you to be adrenalized. That's right, folks. It's time to get that blood flowing and get re-energized. Why? Because you're here. You're alive. You have another chance today to be motivated to live your best life. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Tom Marino Show. I'm your host, Mindset and Success Strategy Coach Tom Marino. Thank you so much for tuning back in. I am so excited to be here today. It is a beautiful Thursday afternoon. It is August 11th. The summer is just flying by. I just got back from Myrtle Beach, had a great week away. My son had a baseball tournament down there. They made it to the championship game in their age group. They did a great job. Unfortunately, we didn't win, but they played tremendous baseball. They were great. It was a great effort. They beat some really good teams, and I was really proud of him. So, Andrew, great job, buddy. I'm just so excited that the summer is coming to an end, but I'm just as excited for that fall to start. I love the fall. Fall is one of my favorite seasons, but let's not rush summer too fast. But listen, I want to hear from you. I want you to go to tommarino.com. That's tommarino.com and fill out a contact form. If you are going through any major life transition, you're stressed out, you're feeling burnt out, you want to change careers, you want to start a small business, you want to do something different, reach out to me at tommarino.com. And if you have any questions during the show, just give me a call. We're live in the studio today at MacArthur Airport. We are live at 631-451-1039. That's 631-451-1039. Just give me a call. Any questions you want to ask, especially about how do you overcome some of this stress and burnout. And we're going to be talking about some great things today. So before we get into today's show, I want to thank our sponsor, New House Restoration, where they turn your damaged old house into a new house. Visit them at newhouserestoration.com. That's newhouserestoration.com. If you've had a fire, flood, sewer backup, or asbestos in your house that needs to be removed, contact New House Restoration. Give them a call at 631-604-8590. That's 631-604-8590. And hey, I want to thank another sponsor of the Tom Marino Show. I want to thank my friend Tom at Ticket Time. If you need tickets to concerts, sporting events, comedy shows, Broadway, and you need them anywhere in the United States, just contact Ticket Time. Ticket Time's office number is 516-588-TIXX. That's 516-588-8499. Or you can call or text a representative 24/7 at 631-213-7675, and you get live support all the time. At Ticket Time, you don't get those nosebleed seats and all those extra fees like you get on StubHub and Vivid and all SeatGeek. You get premium seats at affordable prices. So reach out to Ticket Time at 516-588-TIXX and tell them that Tom Marino sent you. All right. Wow, that was a lot to get through. I can't believe we're already a couple of minutes in and we're ready to rock and roll. I am so excited today. I want to introduce you to Joe Villani. Joe is the owner of Sturdy Home Inspections. Joe and I have come to know each other. We've taken part in a millionaires mastermind that we're participating in to become millionaires. So I'm very excited about that. I'm representing, 2740, Project 2740. Our facilitator is Adam Hurd. But Joe, he's a guy that you just gonna love. You're gonna feel his energy.
Dude. You started off your segment. I almost got out of the chair. Like adrenalized. Like you want to ask me what I'm doing? I'm adrenalized right now.
That's
dude.
right, baby.
Absolutely. Like I haven't seen that side of you because we've been talking business.
Yep.
We've been getting into the nitty gritty stuff, and dude, I'm all about that. It's
all right.
Yeah, you gotta have your mindset right, man. Like
that's totally it, man. You gotta have the right mindset. And a lot of people when they start a business, they don't understand that there's this very specific mindset that you have to embrace. And you just got to keep going after it.
Absolutely.
And forward is the pace, right, my friend?
Absolutely.
So, Joe, tell everybody about Sturdy Home Inspections. You can reach him at sturdyhomeinspections.com. But tell us about Sturdy Home Inspections.
So we're a home inspection company. I started in 2017. I was 22 years old. I had no game plan with it. I was a union carpenter, and I just knew I wanted to do other stuff. I didn't know if I wanted to make it a full-time thing. I just had a friend who was doing it, and I was like, you know what, let's give it a shot. Crazy turn of events later, 5 years later, we're full-time. I have another inspector with me. This is all I do. I absolutely love it. I'm continuing to grow in the field. But just touching on what we were just talking about, I couldn't be here right now 5 years later if I didn't change who I was, my perspective, just so many of those little things that I had to like look in the mirror and identify like, okay, these are my flaws,
Right.
and these are things I need to work on. You know, even on the silliest little things, right? With a home inspection, just to kind of like summarize what a home inspection is you go to buy a house, you send me in to go look at it. I test all the systems. I go home, I write a report,
Right.
and I give it to you, right? That report is adult homework. I do the inspection, I go home, and I have to write a report. If you ask my parents, my friends, my wife, any teacher I had, I never did homework as a kid. I never did homework. So what am I doing going out and getting a career where I have to do homework? But I had to figure out like, okay, what I don't like about doing work at home, how to fight the distractions. And that's just like
Right.
one tiny thing that I had to do like mentally, but it's just all part of the process of being like the best version of yourself.
Exactly. And it's about developing and becoming the best version of yourself. And it's really great. I love your energy, Joe.
Thank you.
Joe brings his energy to everything, man. I remember when we had our home inspection. I mean, the guy walked me through it. It was a very boring experience. I can guarantee you, if you need a home inspection when you're buying a new home, Sturdy Homes Inspections, Joe Villani, that's your guy, because he is going to educate you. He's going to teach you. And Joe, I just love what you said there, right? You wouldn't be sitting here if you didn't make a change. And that's what this is all about. I talk about this all the time. Like 5 years ago, my life changed. I'm 40. You were 22. I was 40, right? But we're both here in the same room.
Yep.
Doing the things that we love to do.
Yep.
And that's what it's about. And you do your homework because you love what you
love
do.
What I do. I think that's a huge part of it, is because like you have to be motivated to, like, if I didn't like doing home inspections, I would have never gotten off my butt to do the things I needed to do. And I absolutely love home inspections. So when I go to a job, I think that energy kind of comes through because I'm passionate talking about a water heater. Right. And you know, it's like a dorky thing to say, but like people get that vibe. It makes them trust what I'm saying.
Right.
It makes it a positive experience too, which I think is huge because there's so many emotions in purchasing a house.
Yep.
Like it's, especially now, buyers have been getting beat up. Like everything is rush. So I try to come in as like a breath of fresh air. Like, listen, for these 2 hours, time stops. All we care about is this house going to cost how much money and all the other details that go into it. And yeah, just try to make it a positive experience while also ripping apart the house of their dreams. But,
Right.
You know,
Exactly.
Try to keep it light, because at the end of the day, it's just a house. It's just money. It's not. There's bigger issues to worry about. We shouldn't be stressing about boilers. We should just know we need to put money into it. So
exactly.
kind of bring that vibe.
And you know, when you're buying an older house, you kind of, you know, I grew up in a house that was brand new, right? My parents built our house, was brand new when we moved into it. I never grew up in an old home, and then I went and bought an old home, right? I bought a home that was built in 1947. It's 70-something years old, 70-something years old. And we're in the house, actually next week, it'll mark 16 years that we're in the house.
Congratulations.
And yeah, and the hundreds of thousands of dollars that we've put into that house.
16 years. That means you've been replacing stuff.
Oh yeah,
the roof soon.
We've done everything. We've done extensions, dormers. I've even put an office in my garage.
Sweet.
Because that's where I do my coaching from, and that was because of the pandemic. But it's just amazing everything that goes into keeping up a home. And I remember how important that initial inspection was, and learning what were going to be the issues in the house. And you teach people about the house.
Yep.
You give it's like you're telling its history just by walking through.
Yep. And I think that's a big part of it is I mentioned that a big struggle first-time home buyers have is accepting how much like responsibility a house really is. Like everybody knows it's going to cost money, but the one way I like to put it is most likely you're getting a 30-year mortgage, right? So let's pretend you're going to live here for 30 years. Everything in this house has to get changed within that 30 years.
Right.
Every single thing. So people who are sweating like, oh, how's the roof? How's this? How's that? At some point, you're going to spend money on it. You're going to spend a lot of money on it. So it's something to accept, you know? That's
incredible. And I love the way that you put that. It really is. You're going to change everything in that house. So what you're buying is going to look very different tomorrow. And don't worry about it. It's all going to work itself out. All right, folks, we're going to take a quick commercial break, but we've been speaking with Joe Villani from Sturdy Home Inspections. You can go see him at sturdyhomeinspections.com. Also on Instagram at Sturdy Home Inspections. And listen, we're going to continue our conversation. If you have a question about home inspection, give us a call, 631-451-1039. All right, we will talk to you right after this.
Like that's what you want to do.
Hey, this is Tom Marino of The Tom Marino Show here. Imagine you wake up and you've had a major sewer backup in your home. Well, let me tell you about a company that I've worked with personally, New House Restoration, where they take your damaged old house and make it a new house. For any water, fire, mold, or asbestos damage, please call them at 631-604-8590. That's 631-604-8590. New House Restoration.
Because I'm happy. Clap
And welcome back to the Tom Marino Show. I am your host, success and mindset strategy coach, Tom Marino. Thank you so much for tuning back in. Happy Thursday, August 11th to all of you out there. It's turned out to be a beautiful afternoon after that rain this morning. But we are so excited to be back in the studio. I was out last week, but had a lot of fun. And listen, we are having tons of fun in this studio right now because we have the pumped up, the adrenalized Joe Villani from Sturdy Home Inspections. I love Joe's energy, man. He brings it. And listen, if there's anybody that's going to make home inspection interesting, it's going to be Joe Villani.
We try our best. We absolutely try. But
so, Joe, we were talking before the break about, really making sure that people understand the importance of a home inspection, really, and what's really that you really tell the history of that house. So tell us a little bit more about what you do, how you got into this. How did you get into this?
Yeah, so like I said, I was a union carpenter. I got in right out of high school. I tried college for like 5 minutes, didn't work out. So I got into the city. So when I got my home inspection license, the game plan wasn't to do anything more than just supplement some income. And actually, because I don't really talk about the story really much with people. I just kind of always done it, and like my family and friends are just like, oh, Joe's doing his thing. Right. So actually, what it was is I had a pretty hefty credit card debt from building my house. Okay. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to do as many inspections as I can to pay off that credit card debt. So that was game plan one. This was while I was sitting in the classroom thinking about it because I loved what I was doing as a union carpenter and I was making good money. And my exit strategy for the union wasn't until I was 21 at the time. I was going to wait till I was 30. Okay. So I'm 27. So obviously that was a joke. But at that time, that was the game plan. So it was just side money that I can just make some extra cash, pay off some stuff, right? So then I had, in the union, you would get laid off. The job would end, you get laid off, you'd be off for like a week, right? But I was a lead guy with the crew. Typically, they let you stay around for like another week or two. And what happened was they laid me off on the same day as everybody else. And now at this time, I just got married. Me and my wife came back from our honeymoon. So you're like in that like vacation, Caribbean time mode. I didn't want to work. And I passed my home inspection licensing course. And all I was waiting for was the license to come in the mail. Everything else was ready to go. The second I got the license, I can start working. So it really ticked me off. They laid me off and it just like left this bad taste in my mouth. And it actually was the day in 2017 there was a solar eclipse. Now this is like the dorkiest thing in the world. No, I believe in signs.
Listen, it's a sign, man.
I'm walking down the street and in Manhattan you have all these mirrored walls, the sides of the buildings. And people are looking at the eclipse from the mirrors, and I'm looking at the eclipse, and it was just like a crazy surreal moment. And I'm like reflecting on life. I'm 21. I'm married. I have a house. Like it was like there was so much going on. And now I look back at that. I was like, I think the universe was telling me something. Like, man. That was my last moment in the city as a union carpenter. I never, ever went back.
Wow.
Yeah. So, between now and then I came out of the union and I worked construction with one of my buddies. I worked overnight for a little bit when my children were born because I needed benefits. But between leaving the union and being here, this past year has only been the only year that I was just doing home inspections. So for 4 years, I was grinding it out, dealing with, did I make the right decision?
Right.
Am I a failure? Because I wasn't killing it. I saw guys come after me and start blowing it out and absolutely just doing way more jobs than I was doing. And I'm sitting here thinking like, what am I doing? Like, why? Like, am I good enough to do this? And obviously, like, I'm so glad that I stuck it out. And I realized that maybe in that moment, I wasn't prepared to do what I'm doing now. Like I said, 5 years ago, I couldn't do what I'm doing right now. 3 years ago, I could not handle the amount of stress it is to operate what we do on a daily basis. And not only just do the inspections, but do the inspections and be a good friend, be a good dad, be a good husband, be a good son. Because that's what's important to me. If I make $1 million and I lose all that, then I'm giving it all away. Because that's literally what I do everything for. Like if I give up who I am as Joe Villani, I don't want it. That's not what I'm interested in.
And Joe, number one, it's so refreshing. Someone who's 27 years old who has figured that out already. There's so many people out there that have not figured that out, who work in their businesses and they kill themselves and they don't make their time for their family. And that's where I come in. That's why I have work, because people are in that situation where they don't know how to create that harmony in their lives that they need to create. And you, Joe, you've got your head on straight, man. And I just love your story. I love how you follow the signs. And, you said in there, that you had this feeling of failure at one point, like
1,000,000 points,
how did you bypass that? How did you work through that to get to where you are right now? What was some of the key things that you really what was the talk that you gave yourself to get you motivated?
I'm a very critical guy of myself. I'm always, like I said, always critiquing what I'm doing, but I had to sit back and realize that's not what's most important to me. When I was a kid, I married my high school sweetheart. So hopefully she's listening right now. Come on. But she would ask me at 16 years old, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I'd say, I want to be your husband. I want to be a father. I want to be the patriarch of a family. I want to be the godfather. Like I always wanted what I have now. I always wanted that. And she's like, no, like for a job. I'm like, I don't care what my job is as long as I can do it. So when you get sucked into like the stress and anxiety of entrepreneurship, like I would have to sit back and realize like, I don't care that much about this because I have a beautiful family. I have a beautiful life. These things don't really matter. Because at the end of the day, at my last moments, I'm not going to be like, oh, I wish I did 5 more home inspections. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I really, truly don't care that much about it. Listen, I care about who I am as a person. That
is totally, and that is exactly what you're doing. You're being your truest and most authentic self. You're moving through everything with the right focus, with the right. You are value aligned. You are clear in your mindset. You've got everything. You see what's important to you. You've gone through that exercise already. And if that's something like, isn't it awesome? You know, like you said, we were talking outside before the show began, and Joe said he took a flight out of here a couple months ago, whatever, and passed this studio. And he goes, oh, that's really cool. I'm going to have to get in there. And look at that. 5 months later, Joe Villani sitting in a chair in the studio having a conversation with me.
Let's go.
And it's like, you totally manifested that. And I said, it totally happened. You are a major manifester, man. You are going to be so successful in everything you do because you are putting out the right energy to make that all happen.
What I think it is people look at, all right, so that's a great example because it's a funny example. Like Joe wanted to be on the radio, Joe's on the radio. But what happened in between there is I believe Adam put me and you in contact.
Absolutely.
And I could have been like, oh yeah, and ignored you, or didn't get back to you, or didn't follow up with you. And there's all those little steps in between there. And that's what a huge thing I try to tell people with, if whatever they want, if it's a business, or if it's to go to the gym, just do something.
Right.
Like take those first little steps. Like you're never going to get where you need to be unless you do those tiny little, like you don't, it's not these monumentous things. Like even with leaving the union, right? Like I didn't quit my job to become a home inspector. I just changed what company I was working for, really. Like it wasn't this monumentous thing for me to become where I am now. It was just a million tiny little decisions to get there.
You're bringing up a lot of good points, especially about overthinking things. And that's one of the things that gets people really stuck and makes them really stagnant is they get stuck thinking about everything. And if you had overthunk it, so to speak,
absolutely. If
you did that, you would not be here right now, right? And I love how you said that. It was a bunch of small steps that you took. And what is Adam, one of the things Adam has said to us in the past is just do 1% more tomorrow than you did the day before. That's it. 1% more. We're going to move forward. We're going to move the dial forward. I've embraced that in my coaching program. I tell people now, just do one thing tomorrow that you didn't do today. Yeah. One thing that's going to bring you closer to where you want to be, because that's what it's about. And you're right. People come into your life for a reason. I know you're in my life for a reason.
Thanks,
you're motivating me. We're motivating each other. It's awesome. I love your energy. For 27, man. And you got 2 kids now, right?
Yeah, Vincent and Meadow. Shout out Vinny and Med.
Vinny and Meadow.
My whole life.
All right, Meadow Soprano, I think.
Absolutely, yeah.
Is that who you named her after?
My wife thought it was a beautiful name, and she was listing out all these crazy names, Sunshine, Apple, Bean, whatever. And she's like, what about Meadow? And I'm like, yes. And she's like, okay, she thought she won, and she never saw The Sopranos. So then we started watching The Sopranos, and she was like, that's why? I was like, absolutely.
That's 100%. Awesome, man. I love
Vincent and Meadow, come on,
Vincent and Meadow,
my dad's very proud.
That is awesome. I love it. So Joe, what's the best way for people to get in touch with you?
I'm extremely accessible, so either it be a DM on Instagram, Facebook. My phone number is 631-487-6634. You can call me or text me at any time. Any way to get in touch with me. I love helping people out, whether it be about their house, business, gym, pizza, whatever it is. Honestly, I love conversating with people and just having a good time. So
absolutely. I absolutely love that. If you need somebody, if you're buying a home right now, I want you to go to Sturdy Home Inspections, because Joe is the guy that's going to alleviate all of your concerns around that home that you're purchasing. So definitely check him out at sturdyhomeinspections.com, sturdyhomeinspections.com, and on Instagram at sturdyhomeinspections. And listen, go check out my website at tommarino.com. And listen, if you're not following me on Instagram right now, I need you to go follow me. I'm trying to build that up. I want to get my message out to more people. So go to Tom Marino Coaching on Instagram. That's Tom Marino Coaching on Instagram. Listen, we're going to be back after this commercial break, and we're going to continue our conversation with the incredible Joe Villani. All right, talk to you soon.
Well, I should probably warn you, I'll be just fine. No offense to you, don't waste your time.
Hi, this is Tom Marino, success strategy coach and host of The Tom Marino Show. I want to invite you to join me and make the changes that you desire in your life. If you're a small business owner, entrepreneur, or executive that is struggling with burnout, overwhelm, or stress, then contact me at tommarino.com. That's tommarino.com. I will navigate you to achieve the success you desire. I will introduce you to 6 simple steps that will change your professional and personal life, and I will help you to choose your adrenalized life. An adrenalized life is an action mindset that empowers you to act decisively so that you can be more productive and get more done. If you are stuck, suffer from analysis paralysis, and can't get stuff done, do you want that to change? If the answer is yes, then contact me, Tom Marino, Success Strategy Coach, at tommarino.com. That's tommarino.com. And remember, you can choose your adrenalized life.
Because I'm happy. Clap along.
And welcome back to the Tom Marino Show. I'm your host, Mindset and Success Strategy Coach Tom Marino. Thank you so much for tuning back in. Happy Thursday, August 11th, everyone. It is a beautiful afternoon out there right now. I'm looking forward to this weekend. Glad that humidity finally broke. It was torture. I was down in Myrtle Beach. Let me tell you, every day was like 90%, 100% humidity. It was terrible. I did not enjoy that. It made me not even want to go to the beach, Joe. I didn't want to go to the beach and sit on the beach. It was so hot.
Yeah, it's been one of those summers, man.
It's crazy.
But that, for me, like, to jump right back into it, talk about like gratitude. I every time it's really, really hot out and somebody's like, oh, well, what am I to complain? You're outside, on an inspection. I'm the one who's outside. I'm outside for like 40 minutes. I used to work outside for 10, 12 hours to the point where, like, not my shirt was soaked within an hour. My pants were soaked. That's how much we were sweating. Our entire bodies were soaking wet. So it's like those 90-degree days where it's like, I'm like, oh, it's so hot out. It's really not that bad.
I know. It's
yeah, it used to be a lot worse.
Listen,
man.
I love how you turn that into a positive, and that's what I tell people to do all the time. It was a great opportunity, to just spin it in a better direction, and you do that, man. So we're talking with Joe Villani of Sturdy Home Inspections today, and Joe has just been, he's adrenalized the station for me. He is just amazing. We've been talking about everything under the sky pretty much. But Joe, when you do a home inspection, how do you deal with people who are intense, and how do you deal with that intensity? They're nervous, they're afraid. When you have to tell them, listen, you got to be concerned about mold here, or you're gonna have to replace this boiler in a couple years. How do you handle that, man?
It's tough, man. You got to have feel. I've always been a people person. And I guess, like, I'm empathetic, right? So I feel for you, and I think that's important in the home inspection process. But, a lot of the problems we run into don't have to be that scary. Some stuff does, but if it's like the we got to get out of here type situation, and I don't have that communication with the buyer yet, sometimes if I'm cool with the realtor, I'll be like, listen, we got to talk. This thing is, they think they're going to spend $1,000 on paint when they move in, and they got to spend $50,000 within the next 2 years. Ooh. Sometimes it happens. Sometimes that happens. Very rarely. Sometimes. So when that comes into play, that's where the realtors get paid the big bucks. I'll be like, we'll do this as a team because we need to talk them through it. Because everybody, like, if they're at the point where they're calling us in and they're paying us money to inspect it, they're emotionally invested in it. They want it to work out. So I also want it to work out for them, but I'm not going to lie to them to freak them out. But I think a lot of it is, it's just my perspective on a house in general is if it's a typical kind of problem, if it's not some very, very rare, odd problem, it's just money. You just have to spend money to fix it. Are you prepared to spend that money? And that's really what a lot of stuff comes down to. And some stuff, there's a tolerance there where it might not be something you need to replace right away. If you want to do the due diligence and you want to be a proactive, knowledgeable home buyer and a homeowner, and you want to put some elbow grease into it, you can extend the lifespan of something. But I have to read the person. I have to see how invested they are in it. I have to see what kind of person they are. So,
you're bringing up a really good point. I always tell people it's not a problem if money can fix it, right? It's not a problem if money can fix it. If you could throw money at it and fix it. Now, people always say to me, well, you have to have the money first. And you got to have the money, but real problems in life, real difficulties, real challenges, money can't fix, right? And people have to realize that when you are approaching a new situation, buying a new home is a major life transition, right? Taking on home ownership is a transition, and people do get very stressed out about it, and they don't know how to navigate through it. But the point is listen, you've got to trust the process, right? You've got to trust in the universe that the universe is going to provide for you to make and fix the problems that you have, right? And that's really what you're saying there.
And it's one of the hardest things to navigate with the home inspection is to like take your emotions out of it. And this is actually a funny point that I think a lot of home inspectors could relate with is the prices skyrocketed over the past 2 years. So every listing, every job we get, we'll look up the Zillow listing just to get the info. We send our quote out, and just like naturally, you see the price. Right. So there was a period of time where like I'd start to see the prices and it would just blow my mind. I'm like, this was $100,000 less last year.
Yeah.
So what we have to do is we have to be impartial and we just have to look at this as it's all information. So when I started looking at the numbers, and it would actually make me like infuriated with this house that I would be a little too critical on the house. And it happened 1 or 2 times where I realized I was like, you know what? Stop caring about the numbers. And it actually also made me a better home inspector because a lot of the times you run into the question where, we built such crazy trust in like a really short period of time where, and they know I'm not going to make money if they buy the house. So they know I don't care if they buy the house, they don't buy the house. Right. So they always, a lot of times they'll come to me and they'll be like, what do you think? And run the numbers by me. And I legitimately tell them, guys, I have no idea about the market. I don't. I'm not an investor.
Right.
I said, I will tell you, I will bore you to sleep about this boiler. I don't know anything about numbers. So, but it makes me a better home inspector, and they just appreciate the transparency. Yeah. But I always tell them, like, listen, I'll buy any house for the right price, but you need to decide what the right price is, and you need to have a team of people around you. And a lot of the realtors that I work with are that kind of realtor, where they've built a team, and their clients are taken care of.
Right, and they also have a trust with them as well.
Absolutely.
And you're an extension of that. And you just said something that's really important. You got to look at the facts, right? Because when we look at facts, we remove emotion. I always tell people, listen, when there is an emotional situation, especially like I was working with this guy who's going through a divorce, and he said to me, I don't know what to tell my kids, right? I said, well, you got to tell them the facts, right? Remove the emotion from it. The fact is, there was infidelity in the relationship. No. That's a fact.
Yeah.
There's no emotional connection to that. There's nothing, right? When you put things into terms like facts and make it very clear that this is the fact, period. Yeah. There is no emotional investment in that.
I've identified early on that that's one of the main reasons I like what I do. Is literally that is like right now in the world, everybody's polarized. And then you got me walking down the middle of the street where I can literally argue every side of an argument. It's unbelievable. It's really terrible in this world because like people, I'll fight with you and agree with you in the same 3 sentences.
Of course.
It's terrible. But with home inspections, it just kind of is what it is. Like there's no emotions. That's why. And also too, not even just inspections, I'm getting further into like we call it building science, like what we do and how a house works. It's really just it is what it is. There's really no opinions. And now there's ways to do stuff better or worse, but it's just facts. And I do like dealing with it. I think it's a breath of fresh air because nothing in life is black or white. It's not. It's all gray. But with a house, it's like you get to step away from reality a little bit. Right. You just deal with the house and a roof, and that's it.
Here's the fact: the roof is old. You need a new roof. Period.
Yeah.
Here's a fact: there's mold on this basement wall. It needs to be remediated.
Yeah.
Fact.
Yeah.
Right. Those are the things that have to happen, and people have to see that. And when they're emotional about it, though, it's like, oh no, can we not get the house now because of this or because of that? I never will forget when we moved into my house, the oil tank was leaking when we moved in. Now during the inspection, I don't remember seeing it leaking. So something happened along the way. Things happen, right? Whatever. We figured it out. We bought a new tank. Stupidly, I bought a new tank because I didn't realize it can convert to natural gas. Wow. So you live and you learn, all right? But now, 16 years later, that boiler is still going, knock wood. But I know it's coming time that I'm going to, but guess what? Now I'm going to convert to gas because I learned because I'm not a schmuck anymore. But the bottom line is, you're going to make a lot of investment in your home. But the key is that you have to look at what the facts are of the situation and do what's the best for you, your family, and for the house.
And that's like, I kind of prep my buyers. Like I said, you got to read people. And some people you can just tell off the bat, they're going to be good and they'll deal with it when they'll deal with it. But like a lot of houses on Long Island, especially town of Islip, they're 1950 and older. I mean, if I inspect the house from 2000, I'm telling them like, listen, there's issues with a 20-year-old house too, but it's different. Most of the houses we're buying are 70, 80 years old. Yeah. The fourth, fifth home buyer is there.
Yep.
So I kind of tell them like, listen, we're going to find probably 20 of the same defects in every single house that you can afford.
Right.
That you're looking at. This is the neighborhood they grew up in.
Right.
Like I went to Islip. I could only live in Islip.
Right.
My house is from 1890.
Right.
So every house I inspect in my area, they all have these weird issues going
Exactly.
on. So I had to have a tolerance for that. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
It's really refreshing to just hear somebody be so honest about it. I think you need to have a lot of honest people in your line of work.
Yeah.
And I think you really bring such a truth to it, and you probably make it a ton of fun. So listen, we're going to keep talking with Joe Villani after this commercial break. If in the meantime, go visit him at sturdyhomeinspections.com, sturdyhomeinspections.com, and you on Instagram at Sturdy Home Inspections. Joe Villani, home inspector. You gotta hire this guy if you're buying a new house. I have complete faith in what he's able to do and what he's going to tell you, and he's going to keep it real, people. So check him out. All right, we'll talk to you right after this commercial break.
Here come bad news, talking this and that.
Hey, this is Tom Marino of The Tom Marino Show here. Imagine you wake up and you've had a major sewer backup in your home. Well, let me tell you about a company that I've worked with personally, New House Restoration, where they take your damaged old house and make it a new house. For any water, fire, mold, or asbestos damage, please call them at 631-604-8590. That's 631-604-8590. New House Restoration.
Because I'm happy.
And welcome back to the Tom Marino Show. I'm your host, Mindset and Success Strategy Coach Tom Marino. Thank you so much for tuning back in. Oh my God, this hour has flown by, but I've been totally adrenalized. I usually do the adrenalizing, but my guest today, Joe Villani of Sturdy Home Inspections, has been like the adrenalizer. If you can't feel his energy, I feel sorry for you.
Thanks, man.
If you're driving home right now and you need to be pumped out.
You set the tone.
Hey, man, I try, man.
Got me
but
adrenalized.
You kept it going. You kept it going, and that's what's awesome. But if you're driving home right now and you've had one of those crazy days and you're tired and sluggish, I hope that we are adrenalizing you, we are revitalizing you, and giving you some fresh perspective. And Joe, was it really hard to become a home inspector?
No, and that's a kind of a thing that I wish was a little more difficult. I wish we changed the process, but it was a couple months in a classroom, like
Okay.
Tuesday nights, Thursday nights, and then all day Saturdays. It was a couple of weeks like that. Probably about 2 months of that, and then you have to do some field training, but the schools do it for you.
Okay.
And then they literally hand you a piece of paper saying you can tell people that you know everything, and everything is good or bad in a house. And that's like the issue I have with it, because like it's not even just about having construction experience. It's just about how to navigate the business, and you put yourself with a huge amount of liability, because if I miss something in your house, yeah, you have an inspection agreement, but people can get sued for anything.
Right.
So that's the way I look at it too, which is why I always say it was a blessing that I started off very slow.
Yeah.
I have no problem telling people brag about how many they do in their first year, and it makes my stomach hurt for them, because I go back and read my first inspection reports and I just see the little intricate details of like, yeah, I still looked over everything in the house, but I left myself so exposed because I just looked at it as like, house is good, no problem. And then it's a legal document.
Right.
Now I have an attorney look over my stuff. Attorney rates all my stuff. So I see these guys who come out and they do two things. They brag about doing hundreds of inspections their first year,
right,
and then they put a sample report on their website. So nosy Joe Villani goes and criticizes their sample report, where I'm like, oh my God, I almost reach out to him. So what I've actually started to do was, because like I do want to be kind of authority like in the field, and I'm also friends with everybody.
Yeah, of course,
I don't look at anybody as competition.
Yeah.
Any job I don't get is on me. That's how I live my life. I don't blame.
I love that.
If you stole a realtor from me, you didn't steal a realtor from me. You just did a better job, and they wanted to work with you and said, like, I want you to hire me, kind of guy.
I love that attitude.
Thank you. Yeah.
I hope people are listening to that, because it's really about it's about that. That's a great perspective.
I text my biggest competition. I look at them as good friends. I want to be in this industry for 30 more years. If you don't use me and you use somebody bad, that is the most insulting thing in the world. Like, if you're going to not use me, use somebody who's
better than me.
There's some really good inspectors out there. I'm not going to sit here and say like I'm unique in that sense. Right. I think it's a very small percentage, because there's so many part-time guys. There's so many guys who don't stay up to date on stuff. But I'm in communication with all other inspectors. Like I can text any of them right now. I'm sure a couple of them are listening just to support, because we're all like, we all have each other's back. Like we all want your competition to be good.
Absolutely.
Because that's how you fight complacency.
Listen, the only way you get better is having the competition, and that's a form of feedback, right? Yep. Competition is a form of feedback. People don't always realize that. When you get when somebody does better than you, congratulate them that they did better than you. Yeah. Don't hold it against them. Yeah. Don't be that guy, right? I tell people all that stop comparing yourself.
Yep.
Celebrate other people's successes, because when it's time for your success, you're going to want them to celebrate you.
Yeah. I do two things. things because, like I said, I'm very critical of myself. So sometimes if I'm beating myself up too much, you got to be a little conceited and be like, maybe he's not as funny as I am.
Right.
Maybe he's not as strong as I am. You got to kind of pipe yourself up a little bit. And
Of course you do.
My friends listen. My wife's like, he's got the biggest head in the room. Sometimes you have to do that. Like if I'm going to beat myself up over about home inspections, I'll be like, well, you know what? I have a great group of friends. I got a beautiful wife. I got a beautiful family.
Well, I'm going to tell people right now, if you're buying a new home, Joe Villani, sturdyhomeinspections.com. Check it out because you are, how do you keep up with the technology? The schooling you said is not as complicated, but you have to, we're adding things to homes every day.
Yeah.
The smart home is a very different thing. Like,
my generation,
how do you judge that?
My generation, we came up with every 2 years, technology revolutionized by 5 years.
Right.
I grew up with an Etch-a-Sketch in the 90s and I graduated high school with an iPhone. You know what I mean? It's unbelievable how fast tech moves. So I accept that. So it's just a natural part of me. Like anything we're doing, we're looking at like, what's the best version of it? What's the best software? What's the best app? And I'm not afraid to spend money because I know how much of a difference it makes. But I also hit it at the right time in my industry. When I started 5 years ago, we were using point-to-click cameras, going home and writing the reports on the computer. Now I do everything on my phone on the job. Boom, 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 boom. I spend about 10, 15 minutes at home on the computer.
Wow.
And it's expensive. And you have to put the time in. It's part of, not everything we do is looking at houses. A lot, probably 30-40% of my business is sitting in the office and staying up to date. But it's a hobby for me. I enjoy it.
Right.
My siblings, I have 2 brothers and a sister, but my 2 brothers love technology.
Yeah.
They love houses. They love cars. So we love mechanical stuff.
Oh, there you go.
So we all kind of
right.
push
So
each other.
that's one of the things too. You have to have a certain eye for this stuff. You either have to love construction, understanding how a house is put together. You got to love all these things. You worked, like you said, as a union carpenter before you did this. So you have experience in the industry outside of
it helps.
What you're
yeah,
doing.
It absolutely
that all helps. And everything was facilitating your
but
education
I'm still a student.
along the way.
You got to keep learning.
Yeah.
You have to keep learning. That's my favorite part about it is I'm constantly getting more education, more licenses, more certifications. So
absolutely, and that's what it's about. Is the continuous learning. That's in any profession, and that's what people forget. You have to continue to teach yourself so that you can be the best version of yourself to help your clients, to do the best, to serve them the best way, and get that all done. Yeah. Joe, so you mentioned earlier in the show, and I just wanted to circle back to that, how you have built a business and still made time for your family. There are so many dads out there that run their own business, and we may be talking to some of them right now. They may be listening to us right now, and they're struggling to make that time for their kids. How are you doing that and running a successful business right now?
Just I take it slow. And I have my wife and I have the same perspective about how important that is because she got a lot of time with her parents and I got a lot of time with my parents. Like growing up, my dad always mainly worked overnight. I was the youngest. I was the youngest too, so like after school, I was hanging out with him. He was at every baseball game, every football practice. All my friends, like he was really close to like my friends too. Like like my friends look up to him as a dad. They call him Papa Moosey, like it's a stupid nickname, but like he's always been around. So I always knew I wanted to do that. So that was a part of the big reflection for me with the union is I saw the guys I was working with, they weren't doing that.
Right.
They were there on the weekends and that was about it.
Right.
So
they were doing overtime, earning extra cash,
doing the best they could to provide, which for them was what they had to do. But for me, it's just always a priority. Like I always make it a priority because I can very easily become disconnected. Like I could be home and be disconnected. And
right.
If I'm not staying up on it, my wife will look at me and be like, hey, come on, let's hang out. Let's hang out with the kids and stuff. So It's a priority for us.
And Joe, what is your big self-care regimen? I always like to ask people what they do to take care of themselves. A lot of like family time, a lot of socialization with family, get out, don't worry about what's worrying you. Right.
Think about other stuff. And a big thing for me always has been 2 things, the gym and music. I love playing music. So, sometimes that's a good relief for me, but I'll do the gym 4 to 5 days a week and it's not to get big. It's not I'm in probably the worst shape I've been in a long time, but it doesn't matter. I get there. It just clears my head,
That's awesome.
And I've identified that at a young age, so I've always stuck with that.
Right.
It's different for everybody else.
Right. And it grounds you.
Yeah.
It's your stress relief. It's your 30 minutes, an hour, whatever it is, 4 or 5 days a week.
Sometimes I'll go for 20 minutes just so I can just get there, get a sweat, and just leave.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Well, Joe, I can't believe the time has flown by so quickly.
Man.
But
really
this has been awesome.
Yeah.
Your energy, man. Again, I can't thank you enough for bringing such positive energy to the air here. And, I hope that you've been listening. For those of you that have been listening to Joe, I hope he's adrenalized you because he's totally adrenalized me. So, Joe, what's the best way for people to reach you?
Yep. So we got sturdyhomeinspections.com. We have Sturdy Home Inspections on Instagram. My kind of business personal Instagram is Sturdy Joe on Instagram. Also, my phone number is 631 487-6634. Like I said, any home inspection related questions. I geek out about energy auditing stuff. I'm actually getting into different parts of the field. So if you feel like you're paying too much for your oil, whatever it is, reach out to me.
Right.
It's more than just home inspections. I geek out about homes in general. So
I love
any
it.
house related question, you just reach out to me, 631-487-6634. And, it's free. I try to help you out as much as I can. And,
Awesome.
we can make a connection. So,
Fantastic. Well, Joe, thanks for being here, man.
yeah, thanks, Tom. I appreciate you having me on, man.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. It was great to have you here. All right. So that's another wrap. But listen, if you're a solopreneur, you're an entrepreneur, you're an executive, you're going through some transitions in your life, whether it's relationship, divorce, marriage, buying a home, having a kid, any transition that is stopping you from getting the stuff done that you want to get done in your business and you're struggling with that, well, reach out to me at tommarino.com. Fill out a contact form. You know what? Just text me, 516-588-0750, 516-588-0750, and we'll get you set up for a call and see how we can help you. And listen, make sure you visit my sponsors, newhouserestoration.com, at Newhouse Restoration on Instagram, also Ticket Time USA at Ticket Time USA on Instagram, and definitely check them out, 516-588-TIXX. And listen, until next time, this is Tom Marino saying, choose your adrenalized life.
If you